Something very interesting came across my desk recently, namely this little thing right here, which is a snapshot taken from Amazon's back end, showing that apparently Amazon had a major marketing campaign going with Hogwarts Legacy for advertisements, recommendations of the games, and perhaps even various tie-ins that was suddenly and completely halted due to a policy violation. A policy violation. Now, I don't have the specific details on what the policy violation was, mind you, but bear in mind here, this is Hogwarts Legacy, a major game in the Harry Potter universe that has been surrounded by an absolute assload of controversy. You would think they would check and double check and triple check to make sure that any advertisement campaign they were launching, particularly with a partner as massive and important as Amazon, would be clean as a whistle. And yet, apparently some sort of automated system detected policy violations, which brought the entire campaign to a grinding halt. Now, what's the most likely explanation there, do you think? That somehow a bunch of decapitated children's head or something equally grotesque made its way into a trailer for the game? Or that somebody in the back end decided to yank a lever and cause an abrupt stop to the campaign a week or so before the launch of the game's early access. You know, the period in time where the game has the greatest potential for sales. Any other game, I'd say that sounds paranoid, but Hogwarts Legacy have been attacked over the most ridiculous things up until this point. Where we even see, one beautiful example, is an interviewee from a gaming journalist site asking one of the game's creators if there was any way that J.K. Rowling could somehow be cut out of the universe she created. Which is just... I mean, the sheer balls on that, like, okay, I know you made this thing, I know you created this thing, but, mine now. And I would rather you didn't have anything to do with it, because you are of the opinion that, woman means adult human female. We do indeed live in interesting times, as I keep saying. I would be far from surprised if some person in Amazon's backend, particularly bearing in mind that there has been a whole rash of firings recently, which have primarily been impacting various diversity programs and HR department nonsense workers, if one of these people or a friend of them decided to yank a bit on a lever to cancel a very profitable campaign over some supposed violation. As now, of course, this is going to have to go through a whole procedure to figure out as to whether or not there actually was a policy violation anywhere, and if it warranted the halt of the entire campaign. Very interesting. Particularly bearing in mind as well that Amazon is not doing very hot right now. We've known for a while that the Rings of Power was an enormous flop, for the simple reason that they needed to ban reviews of the damn thing. You don't do that if you know something is going well. And we've now also had another little sneak peek from behind the curtains, showing that the impression, so the marketing feedback sort of Amazon's Q4 marketing scheme fell by some 30 to 40%. That is a major drop in expected engagement with Amazon marketing for their Amazon Prime Studios nonsense. So, TV shows and original entertainment. Everything was going just fine for the majority of the year, they were reaching their goals. Then the Rings of Power dropped and... You hardly need to be a genius to add 1 + 1 there and come out with flop. But, oh well. And Amazon right now then clearly needs some money, and yet now this happens, a cancellation of a major marketing deal, even as the investors are clearly yelling Amazon's ears off. I talked about this quite a while ago, that Amazon's investors were not at all happy with the performance of the Rings of Power, and considering we have now also seen a massive wave of firings going on within Amazon, I think we can be fairly sure that that was a correct little rumor right there. And now, yet further spokes are thrown into the wheels of Amazon. I'm imagining somebody is very, very annoyed right now. Very, very annoyed right now. And this might also go some way to explain the recent Tomb Raider purchase, well, and why we haven't really heard anything more about the 40k purchase. Because, let me theorize a little bit here. You're Amazon, right? You've sunk $1 billion into a TV show that fails miserably. It gets ratings far below what anybody expects. It gets its ass pounded by Cobra Kai, which is recorded in a shopping mall. Okay? Your investors are screaming your ears off as to how you managed to waste such an enormous quantity of your money. You need a win. You need a win now. It's not enough just to cut costs, you need to start actually earning some goddamn money at some point. And so you bring up your magnifying glass and you start zooming through the catalogs. Okay, what's available? What's open for purchase? Well, Embracer Group, the Swedish holding company, did pick up a whole heaping loads of titles recently in their purchase. One of which, apparently, was Tomb Raider. Now, Tomb Raider is a bit of a C and a double D listed, as I mentioned previously, but it is very easy to make good Tomb Raider. All you need is a hot actress, preferably with enormous gazongas, doing cool shits on screen, shooting dinosaurs. This is not a difficult game to get right. You don't gotta get creative with it, you don't have to reimagine Lara Croft, you don't have to reinvent her, you don't even have to worry too much about the wokeist hordes because you'll have your strong female character. And the male audience will be overjoyed as well so long as she crams herself into a pair of hot pants and a tight tank top. Perfect. It's a de facto slam dunk and one you can get for relatively cheap. I've seen numbers going from 250 million to 600 million. Now, the latter number would be really goddamn expensive for Tomb Raider, in my opinion, but 250? That sounds like a steal to me, frankly, so who knows? They've already got a TV show lined up and a whole franchise on the way. Brilliant, easy win. Whereas Warhammer, well, on the one hand, you've got Henry Cavill. He has clear and obvious overwhelming fan support, but he's problematic. Or at the very least, the Walkers seem to be obsessed with making him problematic. He's also got the rumor that he's difficult to work with James Gunn firing a bit of a, perhaps, potential speculative shot at him recently. So who knows what kind of rumors are going on behind the scenes about Henry Cavill. We might love him, but that doesn't mean that the mainstream or Hollywood does. Bear that in mind. And then there's 40k at large, which is, well, it is going to be a difficult franchise to adopt to the wider audience, which is why I made my problems with adapting 40k video. Because, of course, you shouldn't be adapting it to the wider audience, you should just be making 40k. But I'm not sure Amazon is ready to hear that just yet. So they gotta think like, okay, it's going to take tons of CGI, it's going to require special costumes, special sets, you're going to require specific actors, I need to hire a bunch of GW personnel, and the cost of the IP as well. GW should not be letting the 40k IP slip cheaply, if even at all, frankly. And Amazon might also be thinking that they need to get them on board with their wokeist agenda first. As I speculated in a previous video, that the reason why no deal has been made might be because GW hasn't agreed to their various subtle diversity things that Amazon is still pushing and which is still part of their official policies. And then GW, of course, did put in a little part about diversity in their investor report as well. There are some suspicions there. And not to mention as well that 40k might not be considered as easy a slam dunk as Tomb Raider, particularly if the studio really is in dire need right now of an immediate injection of interest, of capital, and of marketing potential. Tomb Raider and Lara Croft might simply be the safer bet. Especially so if they are trying to distance themselves from what might even be internal saboteurs, as we see here with Hogwarts Legacy. Again, who knows? Maybe it was a machine error. Maybe the AI was like, oh, that's bad, we can't have that, and it turns out to have been nothing. Just a pixel that's wrong somewhere on the screen. Maybe even more likely, I'd say, it was a rogue employee. Okay? Fire them and you're done with it, but, well, you've been running years and years of diversity hire programs. Are you sure there's just one unfaithful servant in your ranks? Can you take that risk? Those are some interesting questions for Amazon to ask themselves, isn't it? Personally, of course, I'm just sitting here enjoying the show, frankly. Amazon finding themselves in a little bit of a shit pile because of their hiring policies, well, that sounds just swell to me, frankly. And maybe, who knows, miracles could still happen. This might be some sort of a lesson for Amazon to hire professionals rather than people with the correct hair color. Pink, or blue in this case, I suppose. Very interesting, though. Very interesting indeed. Lessons to be learned. And hey, maybe that might in turn give us some better Tomb Raider stuff. Who knows? It might actually be that I was right in my previous speculations that Amazon might be flirting a little bit with the traditional audience of Tomb Raider. Wouldn't that be lovely? I certainly wouldn't mind more 2001 Tomb Raider, frankly. But it is all speculations for now. Until next time, though, I've been Arch, thank you all very much for watching, and do let me know what you think as well. Personally, I'm almost completely convinced this was probably an unfaithful servant in their midst, but who knows with these weird back-end nonsense things, frankly. And, of course, I'll see you all again soon. Have a good day.